Morning folks, San Jacinto Trail Report from up here on San Jacinto Peak, just after 9 in the morning on, Thursday the 21st of January 2021. Take a quick scan around. You can see we had a little fresh snow in the last day or so. Actually a lot less than it looks. Up here in particular there's an awful lot of thick rime sticking to the trees and even on the rocks. Pretty spectacular. But it makes it look a lot thicker than it is. Only about 2 inches up here. Was about an inch at Saddle Junction at 8,100 feet. And the snow level on Devil's Slide Trail was starting to get patchy at about 7,000, something like that. Was a storm system that was it was coming in with howling Santaranas from the northeast. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder there on the San Bernardino range that the snow is very much distributed on the east flank, down to maybe about 7,000 feet on the east flank, but the western peaks, San Bernardino peaks, Little San Bernardino, at 10,000 feet, they don't appear to have any fresh snow on them at all. So it was very much focused on the east flanks of the ranges, and you can see the same effect here. If you look down there, there's Black Mountain at about 7,770 feet. On the western side has no fresh snow on it at all, even though on Devil's Slide there was snow down to about 7,000. It certainly looks like there's a good inch or so down into Long Valley. But this is a little bit less about the conditions right now and more about what's coming. Today I was able to hike up. I didn't even put spikes on till I got to the peak. There's just like I say, an inch or two of fresh. Gives pretty nice traction on top of what were sort of largely clearing trails. Most of the snow from our last snow on December 28th had pretty much gone. That's going to change. We've got 3 storm systems coming between now and the end of January, so basically in the next 10 days, and each one gets bigger than the previous one. So they're focused around Saturday the 23rd, which is calling for a few inches both here and down at the mid elevations, sort of Idlewild, Pine Cove, 6,000 feet. Then almost immediately after that, on what would that be, the 25th, centered around, I think that's about Monday the 25th, a little bit more, potentially 6 inches or so at the mid elevations, and possibly as much as something like 9 or 10 inches up here, and then the bigger storm, which there's a little bit less certainty about right now, centered around the 27th, 28th, I think next Thursday, Friday, so about a week from now, which could be more than a foot up here in the high country, and even pretty substantial, something like 9 or 10 inches at Idlewild, Pine Cove elevation. They are all more conventional systems with a westerly flow. So all up, that might get us to something like 30 inches in January, at least here in the high country. Before you get too excited, obviously we're super grateful for any precipitation. We've had a very dry, well, frankly at this point, more than a year, but typical for the high country up here in January would be more like 40 or 50 inches. So even with this late flurry in the last 10 days of January, we're still going to be substantially below average, having had a relatively dry November and December already. So anyway, we'll see what the whole winter brings once we get to the end of it. But right now, still a light northeasterly airflow, Clark's Nutcrackers making some noise in the background there. And it was actually quite heavily cloudy over the whole Coachella Valley. As I hiked up, it's starting to break up now, but still kind of drifting more or less in the opposite direction from what we're used to over the Desert Divide behind me there. And as you can see, always a beautiful day at San Jacinto Peak. And I would, right now spikes are obviously required, recommended, certainly everywhere above 7,000 on the trails, but I'm not going to talk too much about that because obviously conditions are going to change starting as of Saturday. Snow depths after Saturday might be kind of between spikes and snowshoes depending on elevation, and then as of Monday, Tuesday, it's definitely going to be snowshoe conditions, certainly everywhere above at least 8,000, possibly above 5,000 or 6,000, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And safe hiking, everyone.